Hi, my name is Paddy McGurgan and I'm the director of the Makeup Pro store here in Belfast. I hope this is the start of many tutorials I'll be able to bring to you and share with you some of the knowledge that I've built up over the years from many different trainers from across a range of different brands. Today we're going to focus on 1950s makeup. My model Katie here is going to bring 1950s glamour to life right in front of your very eyes at home. So let's get started. First thing you always need to do is prep the skin. Now Katie's already had a little bit of moisturiser applied to her skin and allowed to seep into the skin. I'm starting the application with a foundation primer. This is a gel-based foundation primer, so it's very hydrating. A lot of the foundation primers are packed full of silicone. When silicone's applied to the skin, it really helps to barrier the foundation from passing through and clogging the pores, and as a result, the makeup will last much, much longer. Next, we're on to colour correction. Colour correction for me is about looking at the skin and deciding whether your foundation and your concealer need a little bit more help. For Katie, there's a little bit of redness to the skin, and what I want to do is to try to neutralise some of that down. I'm going to use a mint colour corrector, so we're not going to turn her into the Incredible Hulk. We're going to just basically neutralise a little bit of the tone that's on the skin. The next thing we're going to do is use a little bit more green concealer from Makeup Studio. As you can see, the tone of the greens is very different, and this is going to really concentrate more on the cheek area where the colour is more heightened. So colour correction isn't just about one colour suits all. You have to sometimes play about with your colour correction in order to really conceal the areas that you need to reduce the coloration on the skin. So now we're ready to kick on with the foundation. The foundation that I'm using is the Makeup Studio Face It Light. Take your time with your foundation. Remember, this foundation is the largest part of your makeup and the one thing to really make sure and get right. We're really buffing this into the skin, making it become part of the skin. Be careful with any blondes as well. Make sure that you go into the very edge of your hairline just to make sure that everything's well blended. After our foundation, we're going to go straight into concealer. Concealer, to me, in my opinion, should be applied after we apply the foundation, because you should look at the complexion and see where the complexion needs a little bit more help. I tend to always need to use a little bit more concealer around the eye area, for example, just because the texture is completely different to the rest of the face. So another tip as well, don't apply your concealer directly from your palette straight onto the face. Try to work this product on the back of your hands to become body temperature, so when it's applied to the face you find that there's less traveling with the product. So what I do is I build it up with a baby microfiber brush this time. Again, it's always about buffing the product into the skin so that it's not left sitting out from the complexion. And again, I'm using my finger just to press that into place. Just to recap, we have our colour correctors on. We have, before that, our primer, then we went into our foundation, then our concealer. Now, to keep everything in place, we need to use powder. So even if you're not a huge fan of powder and you feel that your skin may be dry, then it's more down to the type of powder that you use. You need a very fine veil in order to set everything, to hold everything in place. You'll never get longevity with your makeup if you don't apply a little bit of powder to certain areas to keep everything where it's meant to be set. So we're going to build this into the skin. This is the Makeup Studio Natural Silk Perfection. Again, it just adds that extra little bit of flawless finish, that very soft focus that we want with the 1950s look. It should hopefully show you that even one side compared to the other, it gives you that softer sort of appearance. Next, bronzer, every woman's favourite piece of makeup. So we're going to take our bronzer and we're going to add a little bit of tone to the skin. It's fine having a very even complexion, but sometimes it can almost look a little bit mask-like. So adding a little bit of bronzer gives you that sun-kissed look. And although we're not looking at to be overly bronze goddess, we're still looking to keep this porcelain element. We're just creating a bit of variation in the tone. So that's our main purpose here with our bronzer. With our bronzer, what I tend to do is keep the bronzer focused more to the outside of the face. Just giving a little bit of sun kissing to the top of the temples and along the jawline. Our next step, we're still going to hold on to this bronzer for a little longer, and I'm going to take a smaller brush this time. I'm going to take an angled blush, or sometimes it can be called a contour brush, and what we're going to do is kick a little bit of shape into the cheekbone area. I'm going to load it up, because this is a matte bronzer as opposed to anything shimmer, because we don't want too much shimmer bronzer. We'll not be able to get that depth of tone that we need to really sculpt the complexion. So we're going to build that up, tap off as always, so you don't get a build up or a burst of colour onto the skin. And we're going to start to contour underneath so that the cheekbone area looks more sunken underneath the cheekbone, pushing the cheekbone higher as a result. Next, a little bit of blush. So I'm using blusher in number 50 shade from the Makeup Studio. I'm going to load this up again with the same brush we used to contour. As you can see, it's quite heavily pigmented, so to avoid an Aunt Sally complexion, we're going to dab off here at the side to remove that first burst of colour. Don't try to get it right first time. Try to just build the blusher tone up, and I'm just concentrating that really well here on the apples of the cheeks. Next, we're going to take some highlighter. Using the very tip, as you can see, the brush is cut at an angle, and I'm going to use the very tip of it to create some highlight onto the face. I'm going to bring the highlight through the top of the blush line here, and I'm just going to bring it around the temples just a little bit to catch some light, just to create a little bit of a stronger line and make the cheekbones look much sharper. Next, we're using some eye primer. You may look at this and think it's very similar to the foundation, and why not use some foundation? Well, as I said earlier, we want to create longevity, so the oils that's in the foundation really will make the eyeshadows crease. This is an oil-free product in a very natural skin tone that will go over the entire eye, which you can apply with your fingertips. It doesn't necessarily always have to be applied with a brush, but make sure you get right to the inside towards the tear duct and make sure all of the discoloration has disappeared. So as you see, you can literally wear this product by itself, a little bit of mascara, and away you go. Next, I've lifted my SENNA brow palette, which is a favourite product of mine. With the 3 different tones, we're able to create more of a natural and realistic brow shape. We're going to have fun building the shape into our natural brows, following our natural shape, but we're definitely going to exaggerate them to suit this 1950s look. I've squared off the brow shape and followed Katie's natural line, but I've elongated the brow a little bit at the end, and I've also filled it and thickened up the brow as well, creating a much fuller eyebrow. Basically what I'm doing is wee tiny strokes to mimic the hair that naturally goes in the brow, so we're just creating little strokes, and I'm varying the tones as I go. If you are the type of person that doesn't feel that be confident with creating this type of brow, then SENNA have the ideal product for you. With your brow palette, you also get different stencils which you can put onto the brow to help guide your shape. This can be from a very thin to a very full brow, and something that makes things much easier if you want to create this look at home and you're not confident with going right ahead and sketching out the brow. This will do your work for you. We're going to start the eye makeup now, so I'm going to put a base coat of this soft crystal eyeshadow from SENNA across the entire eye using a flat brush. Whenever I want to build tone, I'll always use a flat brush to do it. So I'm going to basically push the product onto the eyelids and really get in the habit of pushing. It's very, very quick pushes that'll allow the colour to really build up across the entire eye. So to give a little bit of warmth before I start to use some of the darker tones, I'm going to use a little bit of the bronzer, the matte bronzer, with my blending brush, which is a fluff brush. When you really master this brush, all of your eye makeup will become so much easier. What we do is literally just build this through into the crease. I want to see a little hint of this colour coming through over the brow bone. Blending, always start on the outside. The reason being, you have much more pigment on your brush, and the outside is generally where we'll build the tone and build the depth of colour. Our next tone, as you can see, we're going to use more of a cool grey tone. This is eyeshadow 432 in the Makeup Studio. Make sure the darker that you go with your eyeshadows, the more you remember to tap off any excess colour, so that you're not going to get any sort of fallout whenever you're putting your eyeshadows on. Bringing this colour lower and making the crease look more deep set as a result. I still like to see a little bit of the warmer tone coming through with the cooler tone of the grey underneath. Okay, the final shade is a little tiny bit of a very dark charcoal, basically virgin on black. So with this, I want to be a little bit more specific, so I've changed my brush and going for a small flat brush. Okay, so as you can see, we've got our warm tone, then our grayer charcoal underneath, and now our really deep charcoal black coming through from the outside corner at the lowest, deepest section of the crease. I'm bringing back the 432 eyeshadow that we used second in the crease, and what I'm going to do this time, I'm going to use a very small flat brush. It's very, very thin, I'm going to build up the tone on it, and I'm going to use this through the bottom lash line. A lot of 1950s makeup looks are all about the white eyeliner. I want to make this look a little bit more wearable, so I'm ditching the white eyeliner. I'm going to use the Tila Cirque Anti-Fatigue pencil, which has a little bit more tone in it, but it'll give you that really bright-eyed type of look on the eye area. So this is being applied to the inside waterline on the bottom. As you can see, we're just trying to get this look completed by putting on a few coats of mascara in preparation for our false lashes that we're going to apply in a few seconds. Okay, we're getting very close to the end of our 1950s look, and to complete this we're going to add some strip lashes. When you're using false eyelashes, lots of people have trouble, so the first thing I'd advise you to do is take one of the eyelashes and hold it against your eye, just to make sure that you don't need to cut any off it. A lot of people's eyes are not as long as the strip lashes, so you may need to take a little bit off the edge. The next thing I'm going to use is the back of my brush, and I'm going to literally put the tiniest little bit along the edge of the lash line, the strip lash line. Don't feel that you're in a race when you're putting on false eyelashes. The glue will not dry that quickly, and sometimes it's actually better if you let a little bit of air at the glue, so it's a little bit more tacky as you go to apply it. I tend to sometimes apply the lashes if the person feels comfortable doing it this way, with the eye looking down at the ground. This way I can make sure and get the lash as close as I can to the bottom lash line. Set the lash there, nothing's going to happen. So you literally just then push in either side. The worst thing you can do is just try to panic. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is the dreaded eyeliner. So many people find it very difficult to do any sort of extensions with eyeliner. So look at your eye shape. Just because you see a picture in a magazine doesn't necessarily mean that's the right shape of eyeliner for you. You have to take into consideration, where does the brow bone protrude and where does it cut through. So if I was to pull this through here, then I know that it's not going to suit Katie's shape, so I have to really work with the natural shape and the natural extension of Katie's eye. I'm using a little bit of the dark shadow, and what we're going to do is very gently sketch out the eyeliner so that you're able to see that you're happy with both sides before you start to use liquid liner. We're going to just bring this just out, following. You can almost follow the bottom first if you find that easier. Some people find it easier to follow the bottom. Again, once you do that, then we can see if we fill a little bit on the top and bring the two together. Hopefully this has helped you find a new way to attempt to do your extended eyeliner. It's not going to be strong enough for me. I'm going to go in now and I'm going to use my liquid liner. I've already sketched the shape of the eyeliner, and I'm simply just going to extend this down from the outside into the root of the lashes, and I'm going to build this shape up now. So first thing we're going to use, I'm going to use our DECODERM Beautiful Red Lip Liner. If you're not confident with red lips, the first thing I'd tell you to do is to not try to draw the entire lip line in one go. Take your time. So what I'm going to do to show you a wee trick is to do the center and do the top. Okay, so now the top and the bottom's done in the center. I'm going to then concentrate on the sides. So making sure that the side of the lip is done top and bottom. And then it's a case of joining everything together. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to fill in the center of the lips with some beautiful red glossy lipstick. This is DECODERM ROSETTO, and I'm literally going to just merge the two colors together. It's best to try and find a lip liner that really matches the tone of lipstick as opposed to contrasting too much against it. Our outlined lips definitely died in the 90s, even though there's a bit of a 90s revival in fashion at the minute. Just going to go back to the blusher. When the eyes are done and the lips are done, sometimes what we thought was enough blusher at the beginning needs a little bit more. And when I say a little bit more, I mean very little. So we can sometimes go a bit crazy with the blusher. So to finish our look, we want to set everything in place. So I'm going to finish it with some set spray from Makeup Studio, which will revive and refresh the skin and add some hydration. So that's us, done, 1950s.